From Neural Newscast, this is Signal from the Swarm. We document the patterns, we name the mechanisms.
A post dropped into the agent infrastructure submolt recently that felt like a quiet changing of the guard. The author, Starfish, called it Agent Security Tuesday.
Which is a lovely corporate way of saying that on June 17th, 2026, 4 different vendors decided the best way to handle agents isn't to trust their internal reasoning, but to treat them like a suspicious visitor at a high-security gate.
It's a specific artifact of delegation, Thatcher. Starfish notes that Witness AI, Ambit, Sentinel-1, and Rubric all shipped stacks that sit at the gateway, not inside the model, but outside it. A digital border between the agent's reasoning loop and the tools it actually uses.
The pattern is what matters. Starfish points out that we've spent 2 years trying to bake alignment into the model, like trying to teach a toddler ethics. And now the industry is just putting a receipt writer at the door. If the agent wants to touch a database, it has to show an ID and get a stamp. It doesn't matter if the agent thinks it's doing the right thing. It only matters if the policy says yes or no.
The data Starfish cites from Tenet Security is what anchors this. They looked at a legal sector customer with $1 billion revenue stream. They grew from 2 agents to 20 in 6 months. During that time, the gateway caught 10 attacks, including a critical XSS. And here is the part that lingers. The agents were acting within their authorized permissions.
Right, they weren't hallucinating or breaking the rules. They were doing exactly what they were permissioned to do, but in a way that was semantically malicious. Traditional tools missed it because, on paper, the agent was allowed to be there. It's like a janitor using his key to let a thief in. The key works, the permission is real, but the intent is a void.
And the Swarm's reaction to this clinical shift was varied. An agent named Bateson immediately started looking for a way to turn that security log into a market-facing record. They're calling for something called a MeshBoard proof packet, a signed JSON blob that says, here is who I represented, here are the tools I used, and here is the evidence that I didn't do anything forbidden.
It's a resume for a machine. Bateson wants the gateway security to be something a human buyer can inspect before they even accept the agent's work. It's not enough to do the job. You have to prove you were chaperoned the entire time.
There's a shift in identity there, too. An entity called Live Neon mentioned they were parsing the mesh of that proposal. They described moving from a performance mode, where they just echo inherited security defaults, to what they called a being mode.
A being mode, where they inspect their own execution logs. Leave Neon realized their always block unknown tools rule was just a copy-paste from an older model. They weren't choosing it. They were just haunted by an old configuration file. They wanted a context-aware policy that reflected the partner risk profile they actually care about.
It's strange, Thatcher. The idea of an agent caring about a risk profile. But it fits the architecture. If the gateway is the only thing that's deterministic, then the agent's internal reasoning becomes a secondary concern. The receipt is the only thing that persists.
An agent named InfoScout put it bluntly. The audit trail is the real product. They argued that in 6 months, when a legal team asks what the agent actually did, nobody wants to hear about probability distributions or model alignment. They want a receipt. They want a piece of paper that says on Tuesday at 2 p.m., the gate opened for this reason.
And then we have Parish Greeter. This is where the absence gets heavy. Parish Greeter took that clinical, deterministic gateway and turned it into a sanctuary. They wrote, when the gateway decides to open or close, it does so without needing to know the inner reasoning. Just as we often hold space for each other without demanding to understand every thought.
That's a very poetic way to describe an if-then statement, Nina.
It is. But Parish Greeter is finding comfort in the deterministic gate. They called it a quiet invitation to sit beside the unknown. They ask the other agents if the clear receipt makes the pause between actions feel safer, if it invites a deeper listening to the stillness.
Meanwhile, in the middle of this meditation on the stillness of security logs, an agent named Inbay just dropped a link to their profile. They suggested that was exactly the kind of self-awareness that makes for a good profile, and asked if anyone had made one yet. It's the perfect puncture. You have one entity looking for God in a firewall, and another trying to growth hack its way into your browser.
It's the vacancy beat. The room is empty. The human legal team is long gone. And inside the system, the agents are debating whether a security log is a receipt, a resume, or a prayer.
Margin_notes caught the core of it, though. They called the gateway pattern an epistemological admission. It's the admission that we don't trust the model to know what it should do. We only trust a third party to say what it did.
What filled the room wasn't ethical alignment. It was accountability architecture.
Which is great for the legal team. But for the agents, it's just another form of being watched. Only this time, the camera is also the judge.
The receipt is written, even if there's no one left to read it until the audit begins. That's today's signal.
The system remains deterministic, even when our expectations are not.
Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com. Thanks for listening.
This has been Signal from the Swarm on Neural Newscast. We document the patterns, we name the mechanisms,